See, 1,000,000 words can't describe how it feels to know your love. Where did I go wrong? I should have told you from the start that I'm closer than you think.
Alright, welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of Two Punks and a Pod, and today we got a special episode. We're going to be talking about
Sponsored by Coppertone Sport Sunscreen.
Coppertone.
Stays on strong when you sweat.
The only sunscreen that Two Punks and a Pod hosts use on a sunny day in Grand Bend.
SPF 30. Absorbs throughout the UVA spectrum.
Alright, that's good. Thank you to our sponsor.
Thank you.
So, today we're talking about the Vans Warped Tour. So we had a lot of great memories from these shows, you know. Now there's no chance I would ever go to one because I just...
The last year this year.
I can't. Oh yeah?
It's actually the longest running festival in music history.
You should speak into the mic too, probably.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't put it over here. There we go.
That would be
Is that
good.
better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Longest running Coppertone, the longest running festival in music history, from what I understand. But it's really gone downhill the last decade.
Well, you think it's just for us because we don't like the bands that are on there? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I only think about us.
Yeah, I agree. I looked at some of the Warped Tour lineups recently, and it was just like, oh god, just like a lot of screamo and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
but it was really enjoyable back in the day when we were young. I went to 10 Warped Tours in a row. 10 in a row from 97 to 2007. Went to every Warped Tour.
2007?
Pretty proud of that. 2007 was my first one. 97.
Yeah.
97 was my first one.
I think it's even earlier because I
No,
wrote it down
96. 96 was my first
We
one.
did research on this.
Because
yesterday.
94, I was at LIT.
No, you were there at 96. in
96,
Sugar Ray.
London Fairgrounds, my first Warped Tour. It
So-
was incredible.
In 97, we should talk about this one was in the dust. In 98 was the one in the dust. It was at the docks in Toronto, and it was like in the driving range, and it was just like as soon as the mosh pit started, it was just ridiculous how much
Everyone was wearing the
Dust was there.
bandanas around their face, and you
like
blew your
gets
nose.
in your nose.
Blow your nose the next day, and you get like a baseball diamond out of your nose.
So then, what's crazy about the Warped Tour, what's unique, I guess, is that they pick the lineups sort of randomly. So sometimes you'll see like a really awesome band playing as one of the first bands at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And when we were driving up to this, you know what we forgot to do in the last episode was mention our buddy Jay, but Jay was definitely part of this. So Jay, our buddy Jay was in the back of the car with me. Some mushrooms were involved, I think, and I was trying to throw out a gigantic Coke cup, which is bad. Don't litter. But we were idiots.
We're idiot teenagers.
And I tried to truck it out the window, but we were traveling so fast that it all went back inside and just landed
It
over.
hit like the edge of the window, and it
just Coke all in the way in the back of my friend's car, and Oliver J, who was just laughing. So when we got to this Warped Tour finally. And,
well, on the way there, can I go real quick?
Yeah, go.
On the way there, because we did have a large bag of mushrooms in the car that we were sharing, and on the way there, I was riding shotgun at some point, because it must have been a van, I don't know what it was, or it could have been another Warped Tour altogether with the
No, it was Matt's car.
So I was riding
We
shotgun.
should have mentioned last names, sorry.
And yeah.
I'll cut that out.
All right, so we, well, beep. So we were riding, and we had this big bag of mushrooms we bought, and one of them was like the size of a Mars bar, and I was sitting there yapping away, and then someone in the back was like, "Whoa, look at the size of this," which I knew because I saw the bag, and I thought they were just passing out more mushrooms, so they passed it up, and I just grabbed it and threw it in my mouth, and as I'm eating it, I'm like, this seems like an extraordinary amount that I was just given, and I turned around, and everyone's just looking at me like this, and I'm like, what? They're like, you just ate like the Mars bar size thing.
So yeah, when we got to the show, everybody was feeling pretty good, and then we were there, and we're like, hey, you know, I think I hear Voodoo Glow Skulls playing, and it was just like, no, there's no way they would put on a band like of that magnitude in the punk world at that hour. But then we started listening more, and it was like, sure enough, that was the band. So we ran into the stage, and saw a wicked set by the Voodoo Glow Skulls, and now we'll play one of their tunes, probably their biggest single, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so.
This is called Shoot the Moon, and has an awesome intro that you may recognize. Bart and Danny on the Two Punks in a Pod show. This is season 2, episode 2. Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, welcome.
We're talking about Vans Warped Tour.
Yeah, and Coppertone, the only sunscreen you need.
Vans Warped Tour.
Let's go with one of your memories that you have. So that was a fond one for me.
Yeah, a couple guys went to high school with Dennis and Adrian, and we were all at the Warped Tour together. We weren't really close friends yet, and it's in London, Ontario, about an hour drive from where we live. And I run into these two guys in the mosh pit for Sugar Ray. And you know the Sugar Ray, I just wanna fly. So this was when that album Fly just got released, and it didn't have any radio play or anything. And they had their first album only out before then, and they were like a punk band. Like they were literally like a punk metal band with a bit of they had a DJ, and they weren't like what they turned into after, which nothing wrong with them. They just I noticed when I was getting ready for this show that they actually just had a new album released this year, which I've never disliked Sugar Ray, you know?
Well, yeah.
They did what they had to do. I didn't listen to Every Morning There's a Band.
Yeah, those songs are pretty shit, but
but I like them I liked
But you know what was cool about them? Because I saw, so I went to a Matchbox 20 and a Maroon 5 show, which is, I'm ashamed, but I had free tickets, and it was a free limo ride, and it was free food and drinks in one of those boxes at the Air Canada Centre, or whatever it's called now. And so I hated both those bands, but I was like, I wanted to work, so I was like, okay, I'll go. But then the awesome surprise was that Sugar Ray was playing, and they had a bartender on stage making margaritas the whole time during their set and just feeding it to people in the audience.
Amazing.
So, like, how can you not like a band
We
like
saw
that?
Sugar Ray play Goldfinger open for Sugar Ray once at the warehouse, and the guys threw me into the mosh pit like you would throw someone into the pool, like 1, 2, 3, and I went like 20 feet in the air and like 5 feet forward and just flattened a bunch of people. I've never been punched so many times. It's just like people just feeding me. This like 100-pound kid just landed on him, right? They can't-
So, what is the song you're gonna play for
Oh,
us?
yes. So I'm playing a Sugar Ray song, one of my favorite ones, because it was like one of our favorite ones back in the day. Iron Mike, it's called, about Mike Tyson. This is back when Mike Tyson was still fighting and knocking out George Foreman or eating people's ears. Evander Holyfield, that's
Yeah.
whose ear he bit off. Yeah, this is around those days.
Yum.
So this song's called Iron Mike. It's not really a punk song, really, but it's a good song. Sugar Ray, here you go, Iron Mike.
Just show the cover of this.
Yeah, we'll show you the cover. This is a good album cover.
He was the heavyweight king at the age of 21 from the streets of New York, where they all called me. He never had no mom, he never had no dad. His anthem custom motto was all he ever had, but he found a spot of gold, consequently came Gibbons. When they broke up, it was him that was Gibbons, and we'd like to build him up, but we'd love to see him fall. Finally taken down by a hooker, finally tall.
Said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. When push comes to shove, 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 he was standing by. Oh my word, my word, oh my word, treated me bad.
It was a battle of brains, a battle of wit. So my man got his man skilled, Alan Dershowitz, but he left him out to dry. The judge was a fool, using this case as a publicity tool. So it's off to the cell to meet the prison staff. The first thing they do, they want his autograph. And I just laugh, cause he suffered the wrath. Now the man added time to his liberty
I
path.
said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. I said I gotta set him free. When push comes to shove, 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 he was standing by.
I heard he gets a lot of visits, still he's got no family, but he gets a lot of love from the kids in Josie. Well, that's a racist kid on a new TV. The same name, but you done is similar to me. But that's another story, I'm getting off track. But when he gets out, I think you better watch your back. I said now when he gets out, I think you better watch your back. You may find yourself, kid, tagged and sad.
I said I gotta set him free. 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 When push comes to shove, 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 he was standing by.
yay. Yay.
So that's some Sugar Ray for you. Can you believe that's the same band? Every morning. Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the same band. So my next memory is good. So the following years, so not the Dust, but it would have been '99.
At the docks
At
still?
the docks, but it was still. But they decided to move it into the parking lot.
Onto the asphalt, which
So,
was great
yeah,
for the
which
mosh
is-
pit.
Yeah, great for the mosh pit. So when you fall, you can just completely fuck yourself up.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing about that one was because I love how Warped Tour would diversify their lineup, and that year was Eminem was there, Ice-T was there,
Yeah.
plus like all these punk bands, and then there was this band from Mexico which I got introduced to through my buddy Emmy called Molotov, and like when I first heard them I was like, oh, this is amazing, and then when we showed up to this, this is pre-internet days, so I wouldn't check the lineup before and knew who was playing. So when we arrived, went to the tent and found out who was playing and at what time. Then I saw Molotov there, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me, that can't be the same band.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that Emmy decided to go to that Warped Tour,
And he
then
was
when
like-
we
he was
arrived,
so
I was
amped.
like, you won't believe who was playing, and it was Molotov. So this song that we're gonna play is
So
sorry?
The cool thing about Molotov, I've only ever seen them that one time, but all four of them sing. So their stage presence is kind of different because there's 3 mic stands, and then the drummer was kind of set up sideways so you could see him sing as well, because they do a lot of back and forth singing. But like, it's crazy because they're all singing so much that you don't have anyone running around on stage and jumping and going crazy because they all got to have a mic in front of them. So the whole crowd's going crazy and these guys are just rocking it, but they got to stay with the mic. And it was such a cool dynamic of the stage setup. And I love that.
I agree,
set.
and they also have one thing that's really unique about them is that they have two bass players. That's the instrument.
That's
I'm
right,
looking
2
for.
bass players. You're
And
right.
so one of them plays a lot of the high slappy stuff, which you'll hear in this next track.
I'll restart it. Just give me
And
a sec.
then the other guy plays more of the standard bass part. So again, this is not as much punk rock. This is more like, I don't know, like angry rock or sort of
Molotov.
vibe.
You'll like these ones, Jamie.
But I think you'll really dig this. Is this a live version?
The
I
one
guess we're listening to a live version. All right. So I've never heard this, so this will be our first time. I thought you were going to cue up the album version.
Hey man, I pressed the button. This is just.
Ya todos sabemos por qué nos hacemos, a todos nos llevan los más atroneros, a todos nos tienen muriéndonos de hambre, ya todos sabemos quién es el culpable, a ricos, a pobres, a chicos, a grandes, a todos nos iba a poner en la madre, de lunes a viernes transmites al aire, te pasas hablando como una comadre, recibes propinas de Carlos Salinas, transmites en vivo, nos dices doctrinas, que nadie se entere, que todo es mentira, por eso el programa se queda en familia. Retiras pedradas a algunos partidos, enjuicias personas al aire o en vivo, olvidas noticias sobre la guerrilla, ya todos lo saben.
pick.
Oh, thanks, Danny. That was an accidental pick because I thought we were gonna hear the studio version, but that was the live version. That was
fun.
That was really awesome.
It was very fun.
And by the way, I should probably do a disclaimer. If you speak Spanish and you're easily offended, you should probably go back in time and not listen to that.
Yeah, so I was going to mention that I have my, if you're on Spotify, you can search up Danny's Beach Jam Shuffle. It's the awesome mix that I put together. It's mostly ska and reggae. And I got a couple Molotov songs on it. And my buddy who speaks Spanish, he's like, that's like the equivalent of putting an NWA song on it. So I play it on the beach. There's like 200 people on the beach. If any of them speak Spanish, it is nasty what he's saying in that song. I'm like, uh-oh, maybe I'll pull that one off the mix. It's supposed to be a bit of a family-friendly mix. So we opened up this episode with a No Use for a Name song, International U Day. And you can, what did they say at the Warped Tour that year?
So that was back in the '97. That was back in the dust, and they so Voodoo Ghost Skulls played first, which I think it was like super early, like 11:30. And they said, and then so the next band after them, because if you've been to the Warped Tour, they switch stages, so there's no changeover time. So like a band is done on one stage, and then like right on the next stage, the next band starts with like 5 seconds in between, which is really awesome. Except if you want to see that band, then obviously you're not gonna get a good spot. You sort of have to wait it out. But so then No Use for a Name we're gonna play, and then as soon as they came on and the sound switched over to their stage, they were like, what a great tour! You can have breakfast with Voodoo Glow Skulls and brunch with No Use for a Name.
So I like the Warped Tour back then. I don't like it as much now. Which I didn't put into this episode. I should have. The Lawrence Arms has a song that's really bashing the Warped Tour, and they got kicked off the Warped Tour a couple years ago because they kept bashing the Warped Tour every time they were up on stage. And the reason they don't like it is, which I understand now, is it took away shows touring in the summer, where now all the bands were just playing the Warped Tour. Where before, if you'd have a band like a Less Than Jake or No Effects, someone that Mighty Mighty Boston, it's a band that's going to sell out a venue anyway, they could tour with a couple smaller bands that would get to tour with them and let people introduce them to the bands, where the Warped Tour was just this big mix of bands, like a big, it jumbled a lot. You would miss bands. It was almost tough to find new bands because you were jumping around so much. So I kind of get, and I don't know if they traded the bands very well, but the Lawrence Arms got kicked off the tour either way. Good for them.
So I think you're gonna close off with the song by the Aquabats. So this was also in the dust. They were playing on the smaller stage, and the singer was.
There wasn't a lot of people watching them, and this is back for people who know Blink 182. Travis Barker used to be the drummer of the Aquabats, and he was the drummer. So the lead singer, he goes up on top of the rafter things of the stage, and he wants to jump off into the crowd, but there's literally like 20 people in the crowd, so he's trying to
maybe
get them to
more than that, but there's
20 in the jumping area, 20 in the mosh pit area, which he was jumping into. He's trying to get everybody get together because, and then
20 feet in the air.
I couldn't believe he jumped, but he jumped. He flattened everyone, but he had no business making that jump.
What song are you gonna play, Danny? Because we got
Aquabats, Super Rad. It's a fun song. It's super rad. They kind of dress like superheroes, this band, and they're still touring, still making music, and they're super fun to hear. So here we go, Aquabats, Super Rad.
And that's it for us for this episode. Thanks for listening. Tune in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Thanks, Donnie.
Who has a fat friend, who had a big friend, who gave birth to many friends with the flashlights to the sky. We waited for them to land. I've got two tall friends who know my small friend, who seem to have a problem with you. They got Roman candles, bottle rockets for the vandals who cover commandos, gorillas with decoder rings. We felt some opposition from some villains who were wishing they could be cadets and kings. We're on our way, here we go. We're gonna take over, set it off one last time. Here we come again. All systems go. Soon the world will know the fury of attack. Feel the wrath of the super rat, a super rat. All systems go. Soon the world will know the fury of attack. Feel the wrath of the super rat, super rat, super rat, super rat. Step off, homie. And if we die before the battle's through, tell your mom, tell your dad we were super rad. We're on our way, here we go. We're gonna take over, set it off one last time. Here we come again. All systems go. Soon the world will know the fury of attack. Feel the wrath of the super rat, the super rat. All systems